Welcome to the Troy Kearns podcast. We discuss real estate investing, entrepreneurship, and business to help you retire and become financially free. Make sure you share this podcast with someone who could benefit from it and leave us a 5-star review. It truly helps me out. This show will mentor you towards financial freedom. If I can do it, so can you.
Welcome to the Troy Kearns podcast. Today, I've got a really cool guest, someone I met at a mastermind, ended up becoming my student. His name's JT, aka Jason Tammaro, out of New Jersey, vis-a-vis Tampa, Florida.
That's right.
Yep. Is that right?
Tampa,
okay.
Florida. Yeah.
So I don't know if you have, I don't know if you know this, but you have the distinguished honor of being the fastest guy to make the most amount of money in my program, wholesaling.
Nice.
So
not surprised.
Humbly, right? But that's awesome because like when we met, you want to talk about how that happened?
Yeah, I met at a Collective Genius meeting. I was working for a company that was a software company in the real estate space, and had lunch with your wife and you, and was sold on Troy's demeanor, how he approached things, and I wanted to become a part of his community, so signed up. And then for a while, I kind of played it slow because I still had a job and was doing all that. But once I decided to go in full force, jumped in probably end of October, November of last year, and been heads down, knocking it out of the park since.
Yeah, dude, it was crazy because I honestly didn't think you were serious like at the beginning because
Right.
you did like a half pay.
Yep.
And then I'm like, all right. And we don't like taking people's. I think you probably know that about me. I don't like taking people's money and not seeing them do anything.
Right.
And so I was like, I don't know. Is this guy? Are you gonna do it? You're like, yeah, my brother, and this and that,
Right.
and other thing. And then, like, once that job situation removed itself from your life, like, you were like 100% serious.
Yeah,
Like, I've never seen anybody flip a switch like that.
Yeah. I was all on it. Watched all the videos, went through the whole community, all the stuff they had online, and just heads down. I was like, I got to figure out how to make this happen. And you get into that analysis. There's so many different things that you could do, and do you go knock on doors? Do you drive? Do you pay money for this marketing or that marketing? What type of marketing to do? And then I was in like analysis paralysis where I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna drive, see if I can find something, and that's how I got the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us about that one.
So I was on my way to go look at a property that was listed on the MLS, and I arrived like 10 minutes, 20 minutes early. So I was driving around the neighborhood and I saw this boarded up house. So I'm like, oh, look at this thing. So wrote down the address, went and looked at that property. The property wasn't for me.
Yeah.
But I talked to the realtor. I'm like, hey, any chance you have anything else that's not listed?
Yeah.
He's like, well, I got this one. So I'm like, let me see it. So I wrote down that address. But after I left looking at that property, which wasn't for me, I drove back past that house and I called the homeowner right out front. And I said, hey, how you doing? I'm a real estate investor in Tampa. I wanted to see if you had any interest in selling your house on Piedmont Street. Mm-hmm. And he said, well, I just left the VA and I'm having some medical issues. And, if you give me $200 for it, I'll take it. And I know the area well. I went to University of Tampa in South Tampa. So I knew that, that area is kind of a trendy market. Mm-hmm. And, right then and there, I knew that this was an opportunity because, after the repair value of that property would have been about $600,000. So,
Nice.
Got it under contract same day. About a day or two later, had a bunch of interest and ended up getting under contract for $270,000.
Nice.
And got that one done like 2.5, 3 weeks. First one.
Yeah, I think that one thing that impresses me about you is you focus on just getting one deal and then closing one deal. And I think so many people screw up by being like, oh, I need to get this one, get that one, and they get nothing.
Right. Yeah.
And you're like, that's you said that very clearly in the beginning. You're like, I just want to focus on getting this one done and then the next one.
Yeah, and I've been hyper-focused on, I'm running the whole process, right, from the acquisition side to the dispo side. So I want to make sure that I have enough time to be able to focus, to be able to get people, investors that want to go see the property in there in a timely fashion to where I'm not even asking for extensions and I'm getting them done within that 30 days. So I was able to get that one done, but that same day, that other property that the realtor told me about, I got that other property under contract as well. So it just kind of snowballed. I got that one.
That one was a touch and go.
Yeah, that one was a tough one, some foundation issues. I had to buy her back out, ended up getting under contract, had to get an extension, lawyers involved, so I learned a lot from that one, especially that one being with a realtor, using their contract. So it was a big learning experience.
Yeah.
And then from there, I had a little capital. So then I invested in some marketing and I did some pay-per-click because I didn't want to sit and cold call all day. I just didn't. I wanted, time, right? You want your time back.
Yeah.
So first month I was able to get one from pay-per-click. Old man just looking to sell his house, moving with his buddy. And that one was just a cosmetic flip. And you were like, you can get more for this one. You can get more for this one. Somebody's going to want this. So I had some offers low, but I ended up getting that one done and making a good chunk on that one too.
What'd you make on that one?
That one was 37.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what happened next?
From there, somebody had posted something online on Facebook, like a friend of a friend, saying, hey, is anybody interested in this property that had some hurricane damage in Treasure Island on the water? So somebody sent it to me, a friend of mine, and I went and looked at it, got under contract, got that one done. That was another 30. And met a realtor through all of this. And I've been focused on this, a certain area on the water because there was a bunch of, properties that need renovation right now because of hurricane damage in Florida.
How many?
How many
opportunities are there out there?
Man, there's a lot.
You're in a perfect market, dude.
There's really a lot, but the problem is it gets to be interesting with the after market value of how long it's gonna take for the market to go back to where it was, right? Which is kind of the unknown right now. So
yeah, you were talking about that with St. Pete and stuff, but I don't think that matters.
Yeah, but I was able to get 2 more under contract. They should be closing in about a week or two, and both of them have about 75 on it.
So you're going to make about $380,000 if the math's right. We talked about
something about around there, yeah.
Around $380,000 in less than 6 months.
Way less, yeah. 4 months.
4 months.
4 months all in. 5 months all in. Yeah.
How many hours a day are you spending?
Probably 1, 2.
One if you're working hard, and 2.
Yeah, I mean, for me, what I've been focusing on is going to either meet the homeowner or go visit the property, take my pictures, do my due diligence on the front end, make an offer that makes sense to an end buyer, and also having the ability to explain that, how I came up with that number to the seller so they understand, the situation that they're in.
You're a good salesman.
Yeah, so
I think that's one of the things that other people just don't have. Just let me be very clear.
Right.
What I told my dad this morning, who you just met, I said, well, he's slick. He recognized that I'm slick, and he knows, and he's hyper focused, and he takes massive actions and moves quickly.
Yeah, so that's kind of been what my game plan is, and so far, knock on wood, everyone that I got on the contract, I've been able to
smooth is probably a better word than slick, but I consider you slick.
Yeah,
but you're smooth. Yeah. You know how to. You're not the type of person where, you've asked me every single time, what do I say here?
Right, and then in the back of my mind, these people are vulnerable and they're in a situation where they need help. So you want to come through for these people. So you feel like you don't want to let them down. So once you get in a contract, then, maybe it's a little bit more than an hour a week, depending on if I have an end buyer or not, or if I really need to hustle to find an end buyer and investor, and how far is it from my house. So I have to go travel there. Cause I like to, again, I'm not doing the virtual wholesaling where, I've never seen the property. I want to go there, meet the investors.
You got to be hands-on. Yeah. And you're going to probably do $1 million this year, and it's not going to take you a whole lot of time, and you've got your time back.
That's the biggest thing. Got my time back.
So what have you been doing with your time?
I just started going back to the gym. I had a little issue with my leg, but now it's...
Yeah, that's right. Better. I remember that. Yeah. What happened there?
I don't know, man. I had a bruised bone in my fibia or tibia, whatever you want it, tibia. And they just been monitoring. I had an X-ray, had an MRI done, and I still have to go. I'm going back next week again, so I don't know what's wrong.
You don't know what's going on, but you're hitting the gym again?
I just started 45 minutes on the bike, slowly. Mm-hmm. But having next week is lifting weights after this week.
You have some goals there?
Lose some weight, just getting better overall health. We're getting older. Yeah,
we are.
Yeah. Well, we're about the same age.
You're younger than me, I think.
No, I think I'm older than you.
Were you 48?
On Wednesday.
So we're the same age.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are the same age. Yeah, I'm 47. I make 48 this year.
Yeah.
But the cool thing for me is, Jason, is I got 2 years of being 47 because I thought I was 47 all year last year.
You know what's funny is that somebody we were talking about the other day, me and my girlfriend, and I thought it was going to be 49.
I think you told me the other day you were going to be 49.
Yeah, I thought it was going to, but no, it's 48. So
that's the crazy about when you get older.
Yeah, it's like, oh, wow. That made me realize. Yeah.
But you got young kids.
Yeah, I got twin boys, 14 years old. I have them 50% of the time, if not more. But they're with me a lot. So it's nice to be able to, base my schedule around, their schedule and, what I want to do and when I want to do it. So
yeah, and you just went the other day. You went to Asheville.
We went to a place in Blue Ridge Mountains.
That's right.
Yeah, it was like a beautiful a treehouse.
Yeah,
in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, we spent.
I remember seeing a deck and a bunch of clouds. And some
it was high up in the mountains. You can't even take a car there. You have to use one of their 4x4 trucks.
Yeah.
To be able to get there from the resort, and then they'll bring you the food and have a fireplace in there. So it was a nice little getaway, kind of sit back and relax for a little bit.
You got someone serious that you're dating?
Girlfriend, yeah, we've been together for 5-6 years. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I haven't heard about her yet.
Yep.
So where'd you meet her?
We actually went to college together.
Really?
We went to college together, went our separate ways, and somehow got back to
That's what happened to my dad. My dad literally married his high school sweetheart at the 55-year reunion.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
So sound of similar. You guys were tight in high school.
No, we didn't know each other in high school. We knew each other in college. I actually was dating one of her friends, one of her good friends.
Well, that says a lot then. I mean, if she still is, she must have saw how you treated her friend.
Yeah, probably. And then she got married and had kids. I did the same thing. She lives on the east coast of Florida in Jupiter.
Okay.
So I'm on the west coast. So we have a schedule where she has her kids for a week, I have my kids for a week, and then we, depending on what schedule.
What's her name?
Jessica.
Jessica, 5 years.
Yeah, she's been a rock through all this, through the transition for me. You know what I mean?
You need to have that, man.
It's important. I can see with your wife.
100%.
Yeah,
I'll give her 100% of the credit. They're not perfect. You know what I mean? The women are definitely.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? But Eden always has my back. If I want to move to Kansas City, if I want to try some crazy idea, she's gonna bet on me.
Biggest supporter for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. So that's it. That's kind of in a nutshell what with the properties that I've done so far. But I'm looking forward to growing and now doubling down, right? Doing some other things that you're going to teach me. Either doing some flips, getting some rentals, investing back in it to where now inbound leads start coming in, hiring a couple of VAs. So I'm going to start diversifying.
Yeah, I think that for you, two things I worry about is one, you get addicted to the income and don't buy any rentals, and then at the end of the year you get fucking pissed at me because you're gonna have to pay a bunch of money in taxes.
Right.
So I would say that'd be first before you start flipping. I think you're gonna have no problem wholesaling. I don't think you need to prove that you're a flipper. That would be just you checking a box. You're really good at wholesaling right now.
Yeah, I guess I just look at it is it if I'm working 2 hours, call it 2 hours a day, if that, whatever it may be, doing what I'm doing. Is the flipping side less?
No, it's more.
Is it a lot more?
Oh yeah, you're just delivering the product and you're done. You're like
right.
You're not having to take the thing to birth.
Well, isn't what a general contractor's for though?
Flipping is You're having to manage guys. That's why I say everybody with flipping is you're going to build more confidence with flipping as a real estate investor. But you're already good. I think you could learn that exact same thing by buying rental properties and managing that type of a situation.
Right.
Then you have to go and I think just stick with what you're doing because you've got it figured out. When you talked about flipping the other day, I didn't want to say it to anybody else, but I was like, no, don't flip because you're making as good as rips as guys do on flips in such a fast period of time. Your cash conversion cycle is so high that you should be focused on buying rentals, and you're such a smooth salesperson that you could also probably get some people to do owner financing and stuff like that.
Right.
And so I think that for you in order to make sure, I think if anything you hear that I say this weekend, hear this right now. One, make it a part one to see my accountant, Mark Sherman.
Okay.
I don't get kickbacks from him. I don't get anything from him. It's just a very important step that you make right now before you don't do it and regret about it and pay $150,000, $200,000 to the IRS. So that you can, because you are now a full-time real estate investor and you have the proof you don't have a W-2 job. So if you elect for that status and you buy rentals, you could keep all of the money that you made this year and pay no taxes.
Makes sense.
Secondarily is that you need to buy rental properties. And then third is that you have to hire a VA. And because that will allow you to scale your business in a way that the leads come to you through the VA.
Right.
Not through a lead source, not through anything, through a VA.
Yeah.
And then you can start training them like, hey, I want you to go make offers on this. Set me up an appointment on here. Set me up this over here. Like, I reflected a lot on this over time. I invest more in people than I do in systems. I'm a big believer in that. Like, you've seen that. Even my 100%. Wife, I married my wife on purpose. I was like, she's a freaking machine. like she is. Like, I mean, Danny's been around her. She is a machine. Like, we cleaned it, do trash on our property together. She gets me running. She gets me going. You know what I mean? May is a machine. She's been with me for 17 years, is a machine. Wow. So I try to, Danny's a machine. He's the only male machine I have around. But, you know, you want to surround yourself with, if you can get, you're very good at understanding systems and process. I would say you're highly an integrator,
right.
I think. And you're also very eloquent. So you know how to ask the right questions and take action, which is really a hard thing for people to understand.
Right.
And you do it really well. You understand, and then you paraphrase to make sure that you understand the right way to do things. So if you have to ask the question like three, you're not like the guy who's like, oh yeah, I get it. You're going to be, no, wait. So what you're saying is this. So you're really good at understanding to make sure you understand.
Make sure, right.
And then you execute on and then you communicate after the fact, which makes you really easy to teach.
Right.
So I think that you need to hire someone so that you can make more offers, more money, more appointments, and then buy more rentals. Because the only way that people get rich in real estate is not by flipping, is not by wholesaling, is not by anything, it's by owning rentals.
Right.
And if I flip to make money, I wholesale to make money. I don't wholesale much. I take everything down. The only thing that you could do is go and negotiate yourself a line of credit and take something down and then sell it on the open market, but that would put you at more risk. So I don't know if that's necessarily the kind of rips you're making. I think that you're in such a good market, like that you could dominate St. Pete, that you could dominate Tampa, because those storms aren't rolling through all the time. And those houses aren't there all the time. And I think you have a short period of time to make a lot of money.
Right. And that's right. I think it was weird, like how it all happened, right? As soon as I got in, hurricanes came through. And then like, it was like this huge opportunity for me to like, okay, you know, you can focus on the Tampa market where a lot of people are, but like the hurricanes came and knocked out the fucking beaches and all these expensive properties that all these people have that are free and clear, that their second home is in, and live up north, and they're vacant, right? It's like the perfect scenario for somebody like me that wants to be able to not only get in there, but like throw a lockbox on there to where I don't have to worry about scheduling an appointment because nobody's there.
It's not going to happen. Like, the most of my money I made was in a short period of time during the REO crash from 2008 to 2012. And then that window shut, and then it was what I did with that money during that time that made me rich, and then how I parlayed into the next thing.
Right.
So my recommendation is I think you could make a couple $1,000,000 a year easily in this market, and then I think you could take all of that money and dump it into rental properties, and by the time the storms are all gone, you'll have enough money to retire, like, and do whatever the hell you want.
Right. The good news, well, I don't know about good news, but they're saying it's going to be a bad hurricane season for us again this year. So opportunity.
What they say, somebody else's garbage is somebody else's gold, right?
Yeah, and by then I'll have like tons of systems put in place and VAs, and you know, owning the market will be my goal.
I think so. You want total domination?
In certain areas I do. Because the ones that are coming to me now with the big margins are from like referrals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then if I put in place, if I'm focusing on specific type of data and having VAs, you know, for off market, I think I can double or triple what I'm doing now.
Well, you told me when we met the first time was that you've been thinking about doing this for a long time.
Yeah, I guess, you know, I've been in the investor side of real estate for like 3.5 years, right? And you know, I go to a lot of these meetings and I see all these guys and I'm like, this guy's got fucking nothing on me. There's no way this guy's a millionaire, right? And I can't do it. So like over time I've just been like learning little things, you know, understanding what are they doing, how are they doing it, and then when it came to the times like, okay, you know, I can go with this guy who's fucking, you know, 100,000 followers, or this guy, but I end up going with you and your wife and I'm going to keep saying your wife because
absolutely.
she was the reason why
I asked
we
you, I
had
said,
lunch
why'd you
together.
go with me? You go,
I hope she got like a nice purse or something out of this. All right.
Yeah, she's got a few.
But once I at least committed to saying, all right, Troy's the guy. When am I going to do it? Was the next step.
Yeah, it was.
And something had to happen for me to do it. But once my back was against the wall and I went all in, that
was the best thing that happened to you.
Yeah, it really was.
It was the best thing that happened to you because I don't know if your back was against the wall, you would have ever done it.
True. It's the truth. You know, because too much of my time was spent on the other job, where now
it's
I'm
hard
making that
when
money.
you had your back against the wall. You literally told me, like, I got this much money to survive, and I need to make it work.
And it was like coming up to Christmas, and like, boom, 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 like 2 deals popped. I got the next one a month later, another one a month after that, and then now I got 2.
Now you have confidence. Now you've got, like, you know what you're doing. You know you can go out and earn it. And so I think that you just need to focus on, I'm going to dominate this part of Florida. I'm going to fucking crush everybody's soul.
Right.
And the way you could do that is I think you stick to doing what you're doing. Don't try to double down on marketing and blow all this money and stuff like that. You're great with the realtors. You know what I mean?
Right.
So pull the realtors list, which is easy to do, from the MLS. Have someone scrape the MLS for you. You could actually buy that, or you could have, if you get somebody's MLS login, you can hire someone off Upwork to scrape it for you. You pull everybody in that, and you start pinging them with an email every week. And you're like, hey, my name's Jason. If you got a property that's been damaged in the storm, you just specifically target that market, right?
Yep, absolutely.
You know, don't say if you got a busted up property or this or that. Just if you've got a property that's damaged in the storm that your sellers are thinking about selling, I'd like first crack. I'll pay you double the commit. I'll pay you.
Well, what's happening is like these next 2 that I have and the one that I just got. The realtors love it because they're representing me as well, so they're making double commission.
Well, they're not representing you.
Well, not representing me, but they are making
They're making a commission. They're being a transactional agent.
Correct.
So they're not putting their license at jeopardy.
Correct.
You don't need representation, so they're not being a dual agent, but they're making
great money.
Yeah.
And they know that I can get them done. So far that's been great. The what I don't want to lose my focus on what I'm doing because I want to, like, the next 2 that I have is a good amount of coming in to where I don't want to sit on it and then like not do anything. Like I want to just take that, put it somewhere, buy a rental and see what we can do with that. You know what I mean? That's kind of my goal. Pretend I don't even have it.
Well, I'll tell you what, another one of the guys you haven't met yet because he hasn't really been active. He's one of the higher end students as well. His name's Dylan. I'm like, I'll find you a deal. And so I found him a deal. I'm like, because he's like not like you. He's got less time because he has this big business. And I'm like, I'll find you a deal. And I'm like, you should buy this one. He's like, I don't want to buy that one. I was like, okay, well, I'm telling you, you should buy it. And he's like, I don't like the way, I want it on a slab. I was like, okay. So I'm like, we'll buy it. And I was planning on turning it into a rental. And my guy's like, yeah, you could flip that for $50,000. So there's all sorts of deals like that in Mississippi and Kansas City and these markets right here that you can get into my whole ecosystem and not have to think about anything.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of what the goal is next is continue doing pretend I don't have it, and then just like starting another branch of the business and seeing what that can multiply to.
Well, here's what I will tell you that I think, and you may understand this or not, but the way I look at money in houses is this. You're making your income right now. This is how you're making your income.
Yep.
Now you have expenses. I think you told me what your nut is. I'm not going to tell everybody online, but you need to replace the nut, right?
Yep.
That's what your passive income should do. So start chunking that away at call it $600 a month. I used to say 500. I'll say 600 now. So each house should represent, if you buy a house for $60,000, which we can easily get you a house all in for $60,000, then that now you only need X number of houses to not have to work again. Now you're building wealth.
Correct.
Once you get to that house that represents the $600 more than where you get to be in your nut, now you are building wealth.
Correct.
So now, right now, it's like make income, money goes away, expenses. Once you have the brick by brick strategy, the money doesn't go away.
Right.
The money grows.
Monopoly.
That's it. 100%.
Cayman Monopoly.
100%. Like I don't know if I told you my story, but I went in, and you remember you worked for AmeriQuest. And so, yeah. So I went in. The reason I'm a good investor is because I'm hyper disciplined, but I went in, but I was fear motivated. So I went in 2005, young guy, didn't know nothing.
Yep.
Bought a house in 2002, bought a house in 2004, thought I knew what I was doing, really didn't. My cousin's a gym teacher in Vegas. He's like, the market's going crazy out here, dude. It's going up like 30% a year. Greed kicks in, and I'm looking at the papers. Market's going up.
Yeah.
Talk to the realtor. Market's going up. My mentor at the time was like, yeah, you shouldn't. That's speculating. I'm like, you don't know shit. So I bought one house, two house. Market crashes. I have to stay off the sideline for 5 years because I have to survive.
Right.
And then once I started figuring it out, I'm like, wait, I start making money like you're making, like really good money. And I'm like,
In the wholesale space first?
no, selling real estate. As an agent, I
as
was
an
the
agent.
REO guy.
Okay.
I sold like 643 houses in 1 year. But they were like $300 checks, $10,000 checks,
Right.
$200, because we were just selling everything. And so at that point in time, I was losing $2,500 a month in cash flow on top of my expenses. And so I'm like, if I can get 3 houses that make $800 a month, I'm almost even. So I got to even, and I just kept going. And I just kept going, and I kept going, and I kept going, and I never stopped. But what I'm saying about that is each one of those houses, once I get to my level of I can maintain, then I'm like, if I want to buy a car, that's 3 houses. Before I buy that car, I need to buy 3 houses. So every decision I made for the longest time, probably up to about 5 years ago, was that's going to pay for whatever I want to pay for.
Makes sense.
So if I wanted to go buy a Ferrari or a whatever, I'm buying 4 houses.
Okay.
And then with the Ferraris paid off or whatever, I still got the houses.
And how many do you keep them all?
Yes.
All of them.
So-
Well, 90%.
So here's what happens. When you play the game of real estate for a long time, things start to happen. Like you're like, oh, I've been in this thing for 5 years in this market over here. What's it worth? I bought it for 30. It's worth 200. It's like, what the hell? I didn't expect that. It was a $30,000 house.
Right.
So I'll tell you an example of that. So me and my partner, John, who we own about 60 houses together, no debt, everything. We've never taken money out of the company. We just buy more houses.
Right.
Like our kids are going to be great. They're going to be happy about that. And so with that situation, we bought houses for $50,000, $60,000 in Tacoma, Washington. They're now worth $400,000. So what are we doing? We're 1031 exchanging and buying shit boxes in Kansas City and Mississippi.
Cashing out, using all the money, buying more properties with the cash.
That's it. Buy more cash flow.
More cash flow. So diversifying the cash flow instead of keeping it in one property.
Yeah, we got one property that's worth $400 that we paid $60 for. That's making you $1,700 a month. Now it's making you 4 times or 5 or 6 houses times $1,000. So now you're taking that house and you're making like 6 times more cash flow, 5 times more cash flow.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So that's the way to do it.
And how are you finding this? I'm the host now. How are you finding the markets that you're going to? Like, what made you go into Mississippi? Vegas, obviously, everybody's like, oh, going to Vegas, but you start to...
Instinct.
Instinct?
Yeah. Kansas City, I came out here. I went and looked at the market. Mississippi, I knew that nobody was thinking about Mississippi. Like, who's thinking about Mississippi? I looked at it. It's like, it's got casinos. It's got all this crap going on. I'm like, you can buy houses for $20,000. This property, and it took a lot longer in Mississippi for things to go up, but it's happening now. I've been in that market for 14 years. Kansas City, I came out here. I kind of had seen enough shit happen where I should have pulled the trigger on a market, and I watched it explode. Like Philadelphia, I owned one house there. 32 grand went up to 200.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, I should have bought a bunch more there. And so watching shit like that happen and not pulling the trigger on it, when I came to Kansas City, I was like, oh, $30,000 houses? I'm like, this market's going to blow up.
What market do you wish you got into that you never got into? Is there any market out there you're like, damn, I had the opportunity to get into this market, like Austin, Texas, before it blew up? Or
I just think you
anything
always
such-
wish you would have bought more in some markets. Like, I always wish I would have bought more in Tacoma.
Tacoma.
Yeah, I wish I would have bought more there. We were buying them for super cheap. My partner was super conservative. Philadelphia, I wish I would have bought more in there. I mean, well, I would buy in Baltimore. Baltimore's my next market, if you want to ask me my next market. You could buy lots of crappy houses in Baltimore for 20 grand. You could dominate Baltimore. I don't have the systems there to help you out,
Right.
but I would, if I was you and I was looking for a market to buy in, Baltimore.
It's not more stressful being in a market that you don't live in?
Sure it is, but you got to figure that part out, right? Like, you got to build your team.
Right.
And once you have your team, like Brian right now, my team in Mississippi, he flips and makes 20% of every flip that we do. He runs everything. He can buy as many houses as he wants. I run everything. I run all the back end, all the financials. He just gets to collect a check. He can buy as many flips as he wants that I take no part of. And as many as we want to do together, he can do.
And then when you're finding the realtor in these markets that are selling them, is it always a flat percentage that they get?
What do you mean when they're selling?
Let's say, no, never mind, you're keeping them all. Well, for flips, if you're doing a flip.
Oh, I listed with Freedom. You know that.
With Freedom. No.
The flat fee list with Freedom.
Oh, so you're doing, okay. Makes sense.
Or it's a flat fee. It's 1%.
Got it. All right, so Tacoma was your first market that you went into?
No. Vegas.
And then Tacoma.
Yeah. Uh-huh. I don't like to be everywhere because you got to determine what market you're going to be in, because if you want to be in like Georgia and Alabama, it's like you got to figure out, you got to get your contractors, you got to be the right people. Right. And it's easy to go and play the Monopoly game and be like, I'm going to dominate in Baltimore, I'm going to dominate in Birmingham, I'm going to dominate here. People are like, oh, you should buy in Indiana. I'm like, dude, there's so many markets. Just pick one that you like. True. Pick a city that you like and dominate.
Is there anything that, like, you know how real estate goes up if a Trader Joe's is going in, or this or that? No. Is there anything that you follow that you just pick and work?
Buy on good streets.
Good streets. What's a good street?
I buy in working class neighborhoods, but like Danny's been around and stuff like that. If I walk on the street and there's like a liquor store down there, I'm not buying that house.
And you don't do any Section 8s?
No, I have a bunch of Section 8s.
You do?
Yeah, in Mississippi.
Do you like the Section 8 model, or is it like pain in the ass?
It's just getting hyped up right now. It's like,
I know.
It's overhyped.
Right.
I mean, it's great, but they're going to beat the shit out of your house.
Right. And then they're going to inspect it a lot, right?
I don't mind the inspections because it's like you get another check. You know, right. It's like an inspection for somebody's doing your inspection for you, which you probably should be doing every year anyways.
Keeps it
for you to go to pay $1,000 to fix all this crap to get another year of checks. Who cares?
Yeah, true. Makes sense.
Yeah. But I would say that for you, the reason I would not buy in Florida unless it was like northern Florida is because of insurance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless they get rid of those property taxes, that could be.
Yes, DeSantis is working on it.
DeSantis, yeah, I'm gonna be your neighbor down there pretty soon.
Yeah, how long?
I don't know. I think I'll probably do both. I think I want to like, my goal is to live like a life. I want to move to Mexico.
Does Missouri have income tax?
Oh, Missouri's got all sorts of bullshit taxes.
So why wouldn't your headquarters be down there?
Well, it might be down there, but I might be here.
Right.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Like, I think it probably right now it was Nevada for a while, and then, you know, it might be Florida. I don't know. You don't really have to pay income taxes if you're not making income.
This is true.
If you have cost segregation, you're doing real estate the right way.
Right.
You don't pay income taxes.
Right.
Now, we'll tell you that personal property tax that Missouri has is a bunch of BS. You don't know about this.
No,
it's stupid, dude.
What are
they tax you on your car.
Your car?
And so if you have 5 of them, you pay a big tax.
Why?
Why do they tax you on your car?
Yeah.
I don't know. Why do they charge sales tax?
I don't know. We don't have that in Florida.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Florida's got other BS. How much is gas down there?
It's about $3 a gallon.
It's a little more than that.
$3.30 maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's high right now.
Yeah. I think it was like almost $4 when I was down there last time.
Well, you're in like Naples. Is like
gas is more expensive in Naples.
Yeah.
Really?
You're in the middle of you're all the way at the end of the state, man. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great down there.
Yeah.
So what's next for you?
Next for me is just staying hyper focused and not getting lazy. You know, because you get some checks in that you're like, oh, I can sit back and relax. No, you can't. You know, like if you want to grow the right way and, you know, reinvest it, I just got to stay focused and, you know, take over the wholesale space.
And what do you want to do, like, long term besides that?
Long term, personally, just get to a point where I have enough passive income. You know, my goal is within 5 years have enough passive income to offset my expenses. I'd be in a good spot. I'd be happy.
You think you can do that?
I think so.
Yeah, I know you can.
Yeah.
If you don't buy a rental this year, though, that's not going to happen. How many rentals you want to buy this year?
I say, what are we in? 3.
That was the same number that I was thinking. That's the right number.
We have 3 quarters left. One a quarter.
Yeah.
And then and maybe 4 by the end of the year. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how much cash I have from.
I think you're going to make $1 million this year. How much do you think you're going to make?
let's go with that. Let's see if I can hit it. I mean, right now I'm on pace.
You actually pace to do like a mill too.
Yeah.
What's the most money you've ever made?
Probably about 4 or 5. Yeah.
Taxed.
Which
is about 300.
Yeah.
So how's that feel?
Good. It feels good that it happened the way that it did on top of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That like I'm in control.
Yeah.
Like I've been in the corporate space where private equity, and getting shares and RSUs and your PTO and HR and all that bullshit, and then like you're at the mercy of somebody just saying, "Hey, thanks for your 14 years of service. Today's gonna be your last day," right? And that literally has happened to me.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you all. Like, I don't want to do that no more. Like I want to be in charge of my life and what I do.
And what can you do this year? Anything you want?
Anything I fucking want.
And does that feel good?
It does. Yeah.
Yeah. This is your first mastermind.
Yeah.
Are you excited?
I am. Yeah, I'm excited to hear stories about what other people are doing that's successful. See if I can take a couple things back home and, see if I can implement it.
Do you think? What do you think you're missing on?
I think that I'm leaving opportunity. I've been so hyper focused on the wholesaling side where I'm just like the broker, right? Getting under contract for 100, selling it for 150, and making 50 and be done with it. Mm-hmm. To where I'm leaving opportunities on the table.
Like which ones?
Where let's say I'm using some pay-per-click, right? And it's only 80% of the people that are filling out a form, they're on the market, right? But I'm not going over seller finance or novations, or maybe implement some of that into what I'm doing and see. I guess I've been so fortunate with the spreads that I'm making to where like, oh, if it's fucking $5,000, I don't want to fucking deal with this for
that's why you needed an assistant.
3 months.
That's why you needed an assistant.
I don't want to deal with this for a month of making $5,000, and that's bad to say,
Yeah, it is.
But I probably have left a bunch on the table because of that, unfortunately.
That's okay. I mean, I think it could be worse. I think
it could be worse.
I think hyper focus is a good thing, and sometimes you have to be willing to like say no to deals so that you can hyper focus on what's going to make you the most amount of money.
100%.
And if you're saying like, well, I could go meet with that person, then maybe you're losing an opportunity that you would have over here.
Yeah, I literally went and saw one like a week ago, and it was like a beautiful house, and the guy had it on the market, took it off the market. But he wants top dollar for it, and I'm taking my pictures, doing my thing, and I'm saying to myself, "This is a waste of my fucking time," right? Like,
well, I think what you need to say to yourself instead of that, because I catch myself doing the same thing, is how do I get this guy to say yes?
True.
You know what I mean? It's the same conversation.
Well, that's where I think
because you're thinking in my head, I'm wasting my fucking time because this guy wants top dollar, right. But all really he wants to do is sell his house.
Right. And that's where it comes into what are my extra strategies? How can I? What are my options instead of just making a lowball offer, coming with 3 scenarios, you know what I mean? Whatever they may be.
Yeah, you need to just find out what he really wants,
right.
And then be like, so tell me about that deal right now.
Well, this particular house, the guy built it, and
lots of pride,
construction. He was a flipper investor, this whole 9 yards. Built this house on the water. It's on stilts. It's a nice house.
Did we look at that one together? I feel like we did.
We might have.
Yeah, and I told you that guy is going to be high.
Yeah, it's like 3,500 square feet.
Is it Port Charlotte?
No, it's right in Tampa. This one was right in Tampa.
Okay.
It was like through a pay-per-click lead. But he put in, like, when I tell you, like, the guy, like, overdid a ton of things, right? Like, every room has, like, every knick-knack you can think of. But the neighbor it's a house half the size, sold for $800, and there's no comps. There's just no comps for him to get over $1 million for it.
And what does he want?
He wanted $1 million, and I have to come in at like $600 for somebody to go in there and put $100 in to be able to resell it at $1 million.
So my one strategy would be is always make an offer.
Oh, I did. Oh,
you did? You offered him $6?
I offered him $650.
What did he say?
He said nope. $850 is my minimum. I said, all right, what? You keep me posted, and I'll follow up on them in a few weeks.
Okay, well, good. Yeah, as long as you're always making an offer.
Oh, I'm always making an offer.
Okay.
But like, another one, if there's one on the market that like this, I went to another property and it was like, it was worth $750 what the guy wanted. Like, there was not one thing wrong with this house. Like, I wanted to move it in myself, right?
Well, that's how you got to figure out how to do that, right?
Right. But he just wanted to see what I was going to offer him because he's not in a rush to sell it. the house that he lives there, but it's like family, and he wasn't motivated.
So maybe those are some more pre-qualifying questions that you could do up front. Like,
yeah, but again, since I'm so hyper focused on a certain area, and I'm not really working that much, like I'll go drive 20 minutes to go meet somebody.
Yeah, and anytime you're like where you're at right now, the more people that you meet with, the better your skill gets.
It's a learning experience for me as well, right? So I'm looking at it like, you get in front of an audience and you do speaking, right? Like nobody likes to do that. No. But if you do it 100 times, you get more familiar and you can understand the person. And so a lot of it's the connection with that seller. Do they trust you? Do you trust them? And like how, let me look at the walls. Like how can I communicate with this guy and see where I can figure out a way to get him to agree with me, right? That's what the goal.
I think the biggest thing with that is there's always pain.
Right.
There's a reason that they're calling you. And if the real reason is like, listen, hey, I just want to see the most I can get, which is sometimes what they say.
Oh, yeah.
And you go, I get that. I just want to educate you on my process. I actually buy houses. And what I do is I fix them up, I put some money in, and then I either resell them for a profit or I turn them into rentals. So based on that model, and I want you to get the most amount of money you can, I'm going to have to bring you an offer like with somebody like that. I'm going to bring you an offer that's probably less than retail. Is it still worth me coming by?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Right? Or like somebody the other day called me and I put the call online for everybody and they were like, yeah, I want this. I look at it. I'm like, this house is not worth shit, And he's like, I'm like, well, here's the deal. If my offer is not anywhere close to where you're asking, should I still come by?
Right.
Should I still make you an offer? Yeah.
And you get the guys, the more educated ones that are doing like that are online doing the pay-per-click. Well, Zillow says my house is worth this, right? So that's already stuck in their mind. So then it's
100%.
Like, so then you have to like, okay, well.
So you call up Zillow. You call up Zillow. You claim it as your house, and you tell them it's worth like $300. And
right.
No, I'm just kidding.
I get emails from a few different properties already. Yeah. But then I'll start diving into the when was the AC done? When was the roof done? How old's the kitchen? Have you done? You know what I mean? Like just to beat them up and give them a few jabs.
Yeah,
right.
Like, yeah.
Dude, don't lie to me. You know. And
do you change your filters every month?
Yeah, exactly. Right. So then I'll just try to get them to understand that, like, yeah, even though Zillow says that, like, there's a good chance it's not worth that.
Yeah.
And you sound like you made $10 an hour, dude, on the phone. So I don't think you have nice stuff in your house.
Yeah, that's crazy. So next is getting better, and then get more deals, and then getting retired. Any plans this year? Any big plans?
Probably take my kids somewhere this summer. In Florida, school ends in like 5 weeks. So
where do you want to take them?
Every year we go to New York every year. We're Yankees fans, so we'll go to a Yankees game. But I want to take them somewhere like outside the country. I think this summer. That's kind of a goal. That's what.
Where would you go? Where would the first place?
So I think I want to go to Italy. So that might be a trip for my girlfriend and I. But I think my kids more like a resort, like tropical island or something like
Italy
that.
Sounds like an amazing time. I've been there with my kids.
Well, I want to go with my kids too. My kids love their foodies. They love to eat, and they love all that. I train them on that, so that's fun. But I don't know if Italy's a trip to take the kids, or
I think
you think so.
Yeah, I think you could, man. I think that don't waste it on an amusement park if you want to do it. Just go down to Don't you live in an amusement park? Like,
oh my god, yeah. We don't do the amusement parks anymore. It's too hot. Staying in line for an hour and a half for one ride. I don't even like rides.
I don't. Well, I like rides, but I don't like lines. I don't like crowds. I don't like a bunch of people.
No, thank you.
And so I'm not like. My wife's like was on this big kick for a while. She's like, we need to go on cruises. I said, are you out of your mind? Like, you think I want to be stuck with a bunch of people on a boat, like getting like that? We were sitting next to someone that we went out for like a breakfast date the other day. We were sitting next to some of these people. We'll just say that next to me, and they were talking about, did you get the Coke package? Did you get the soda package? Did you get this? All some bullshit. I don't want to be stuck on a cruise line. I want to be going. But Italy, I took my kids there.
Where'd you go?
We went to Florence. The cool thing about this is, what you could do. Would your kids be Could you get in trouble? Would you get in trouble for flying your kids back home and bringing your?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just making sure.
Yeah, not doing that. Yeah, fly them out of the car. Yeah, alone. No, no. I don't even think I would want to do that.
Yeah. So what I was gonna say, what you could do is make it a whole. Well, they know your girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
I would take everybody, man. I would fly directly into Florence or wherever is close to Florence. I would hit 3 or 4 cities in Italy, and you'll have the freaking time of your life. I'd go there for 2 weeks. And I'd stay in one place for 4 days, another place for 4 days. I wouldn't plan it out totally. I'd be like, hey, we're going to be staying here for at least 4 days, and then we're going to pick the next spot.
Okay. All right, so she's got 3 kids. I have 2.
Yeah,
That's
she can
5,
Airbnb.
6, 7. 7 people, 2 weeks, $20,000, right?
If you start buying rentals and putting money into those, and you're planning on doing it before the summer, you could probably pay for it a lot with like points where it didn't cost you that much money. You'd probably have to pay for the Airbnbs, and it might cost you $20,000, but who gives a shit?
20, right.
You're going to make the money.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, so it'd give you a reason to hustle and grind like hell.
That's the goal.
Yeah, so I would definitely do it. And you only live once. You don't get to do this shit again. And
True.
I think you'd have an epic time. And if you're 49, 48, 47-ish.
48.
Years old. I think that I live to travel. Like I want to move to Mexico for 6 months and live there. And
Where?
Puerto Vallarta. We're going down there. The only reason that's keeping me going to this mastermind, because I'm spent right now, is I'm like, Mexico. I told my wife this morning, she's like, oh, I'm so tired. I'm like, because I've been going since Baltimore, all these places. I haven't stopped. And I'm like, we're going to Mexico on Saturday. And I want to move down to Puerto Vallarta, which I've been going since I was 18 years old, and spend 6 months there. And I just got an interesting phone call the other day like this. My sister called me and we're not tight, but we become tighter since a bunch of stuff happened with my mom and everything. And I'm like, she calls me and she literally there's no introduction. She's like, I'm moving to Abu Dhabi. Or she's moving to, not Abu Dhabi. The hell's the place in Dubai. Because I'm moving to Dubai. And I said, good for you.
Yeah.
She with her family, her son and her husband. I was like, awesome.
Where they live now?
Seattle.
Wow. That's
My whole family's from Seattle, and we've all been traveling because we never got to travel growing up. We went to freaking California in my dad's van one time, So I would say absolutely go to Italy, pick a city, and then plan on going to like 3 other cities in that. You'll have a blast. You can get one Airbnb that'll fit all those kids in there.
True.
We did it. We had rooms that were way big. The average place was like probably $300 a night. We stayed in the super best places. The food's cheap. It's cheaper to travel in Italy than it is for you to live in the summer in the U.S.
Probably, yeah.
100%.
I believe it. You went for 2 weeks to Italy?
I don't even think we're there that long. No, we were in Italy for like probably 10 days.
When are you going to Mexico? Because I have a buddy that lives in Puerto Vallarta.
I'm going to be going on the 12th through the 18th.
Of April.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, soon.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm saying Mexico.
Nice.
I usually do 2 times a year to Mexico, at least.
Mexico was on a list to take, like a trip to take the kids to. Something like a
Oh yeah, that's a no-brainer, man.
Yeah.
If you're gonna, you could drive down to Miami or fly out of Tampa, either one. But Miami's got like the most direct flights anywhere. I would definitely go to Mexico with your kids. If that's what your plan was, then take your girl to, because Mexico's like no problem. That's easy in and out. Like you're in there, you can spend 3 or 4 days. You could go, if you wanted to go to Cancun, you can go to this place called the Moon Palace, which is like an amusement park / I don't like resorts. I like staying at condos.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like the resort. I mean, if I do a resort, it's a really nice one. Very, like Grand Velas is a freaking fantastic resort.
Where's that?
They have 4 locations.
Okay. One
in Puerto Vallarta, one in Cancun, one in Cabo San Lucas, which I don't care for Cabo San Lucas in general. Like I would take your boys to Puerto Vallarta. You'd have an amazing time there.
They love tacos, so.
Dude, we eat street tacos like crazy over there. They're awesome.
They're into the birria tacos. You know what that is?
No.
So they get like shredded beef, and it's like you get a ribeye or a chunk roast. You put it in a crock pot, and it like shreds.
Oh yeah.
And it creates like a red sauce.
Yeah.
And then you take the tortilla, you put it on the stove with cheese, and then you put the meat in there. So it's like a grilled cheese and meat thing.
Like a smash taco?
Kind of. It's like a taco. It's like a fried taco with meat and cheese inside, and you dip it in the red sauce. Dude, they're good. They're good.
Sounds good right now.
Yeah.
Last question. Anybody who's thinking about investing in real estate, would you say that we're the real deal?
100%. The community is great. You're going to meet a lot of people within it, and they're from all over the country. So I love the fact that there's people in Florida that I communicate with. There's a couple even now that I'm helping Suzanne on something. Yeah. Devin and I talk all the time. Eddie and I talk all the time.
Devin's
Josh just moved over here. So there's a ton of people throughout the United States. So, doesn't matter where you're at, you'll be part of the community. Every week I'm on the calls. There's 5, 6 now. 6 now.
Nobody else does that.
No, absolutely not. So anytime you have a deal, jump on the call. There's somebody there to help you. Yeah. All right, so there's that opportunity, and then just through your network of all the different ways that it gives you the ability to offset your not only mistakes but financial mistakes as well, because you're going to get the right answers.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. The one thing that we always try to do, and I think one of the things that I really enjoyed working with you is I always say, hey, give me feedback. And you gave great feedback to make the program better. And I always tell it, you can have all the knowledge in the world, but sometimes it's hard to communicate that knowledge to people. Yep. And so when somebody's asking good questions, they're like, well, why don't you have that? I'm like, oh, that's a good point. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
So every student should be making the program better. And you're one of the students that definitely did that. So I appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Nice, bro.
You bet. All right, guys, make sure you give us a 5-star review and make sure you subscribe and take action and invest in real estate. His life changed.
Yep.
Yours could too. Peace. Hey, thank you so much for tuning into our podcast right now. I am so happy that you are here. You are in the right spot to be getting inspired by other people that have just achieved their goals so that you can achieve your goals. Do me a favor. Leave us a 5-star review. It really helps us grow. And give us comments and feedbacks. We read those. It helps us grow. The most important person in this podcast is the listener, right? And so if you give us your feedback, it will allow us to create a better podcast for you. And make sure you enjoy the show and leave us a 5-star review.